Hello and welcome to the NHS TV studios here on the campus of Northwest High School. My name is Jeremy Raw. I am the Creative Media Production Coordinator here for the district. And we're going to talk a little bit about career and technical education. And we're going to talk about college and career readiness. And with me to do that is our Executive Director of College and Career Readiness and Innovation, Mrs. Celine Braswell. So welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the time.
So doing these types of courses, and we're going into remote learning, you know, we're going to do that for the first 3 weeks of the year.
Yes.
And then after that, some students will choose to do remote learning potentially throughout the year. What's that going to look like in the CCR area?
That's a great place to start, Jeremy. I think the number one thing we have to remember first is we have 142 different courses here at Northwest ISD. We offer a lot of programs, but those programs are 40 to 60% hands-on. They're a lot like here in the studio. They have some very technical industry equipment that we have some expectations with. And so we spent the entire summer understanding how we could possibly facilitate as many of those options as possible in a remote learning situation. One of the things that we did is we've built a list of all of those courses, and that list is going to be posted on our Return to Learn website. And it actually has information about each one of the courses. And then if it's not offered in a remote learning situation after September 11th, if it's not offered that way, we've given you the reasons why. We've tried to explain how we were unable to facilitate, and there's not a lot of them. We did try to make as many opportunities as possible, and 100% of our courses will be served remote in the first 3 weeks, the 16 days that we have to open. And part of the reason for that is we really hope that we can get as many of our students to come back and be a part of our campuses as possible. We're working really hard to offer as many special opportunities, whether you're remote or face-to-face, but some of our classes, due to the nature of them, just cannot be facilitated that way. A great example is welding. You know, we use that a lot.
So you don't want kids welding in their homes, you know.
Hey
Mom, I'm going to go in my bedroom.
Absolutely. If you had the means and the ways to do that, that's great, but it would just be really difficult to facilitate. And part of that, like welding, is actually a 2-hour-a-day course. So it's even more difficult because some of our courses are actually double blocked. They have 90 minutes a day to serve those students because they are in a technical industry standard, the culinary kitchen. There are some expectations that happen in those classrooms.
Right. So in a facility like ours, obviously there's any lab-based facility, there's lots of things to touch, you know. So what are we doing to help keep our students safe from COVID-19?
So one of the things, obviously, is we are part of as the district, we are going to be compliant. We're going to wear our mask. We're going to follow PPE rules. We also, one of the things we do in our programs, as you well know, is training our students with OSHA, occupational safety. We want to make sure that our students understand the necessity of PPE. So our students will get their 10-hour OSHA opportunities. We'll be working with our teachers on how to disinfect their labs. We've bought some specialized equipment that actually allows us to blast this plant-based disinfectant, if you will, that takes 1 minute after it cures. It's got a lot of technical jargon that I don't know everything about, but we will use that to actually disinfect each one of the labs after the student is finished using the equipment. And it takes about 1 minute to cure. And so that's exciting for us. We're not losing a lot of instructional time. We're going to work with our students, which we've always done, in making sure that they keep their areas clean. We try to teach that a lot, and our teachers work to help people be prideful in the lab spaces in which they work, as you well know.
Well, I mean, the whole world is getting a lesson in PPE right
Absolutely.
now. So there's people that didn't even know what PPE stood for until now. So.
And, yeah, now we get to have that conversation, and people are like, I get why that was important, or why we cleaned up, or why we didn't leave a mess about. And that was always important for us now, but now even more. We're going to use keyboard covers and mouse covers and lots of different things on our equipment to really just keep our kids safe. And we've even bought special partitions to go in between our computers. Just as many things as we can to safeguard and provide the social distancing, allow them to work with the equipment. And then obviously we're going to do our part. We're going to wear the mask. We're going to take care of business in the classrooms each and every day.
We're going to stay 6 feet apart.
We're going to stay 6 feet apart, and we're going to be cognizant of that. And I think that those are just really important things, and we're going to keep doing that.
That's great. So let's talk a little bit about, we've been hearing a lot about Edgenuity, for our remote learners.
Yeah.
So I think some of our audience knows what that is, but a lot of them don't. What is that and how does it help our students?
Sure. So Edgenuity was around way before COVID. We've been using Edgenuity in a lot of different facets within our district and then across the country. A lot of people have used it. It's an online curriculum, and what they do is they take a course, they build the online curriculum, they have modules, quizzes, and it's where a student could self-pace. Now, for us with CTE, our teachers are going to be working in lots of different platforms. Obviously, we use Moodle in the district standard, and we're going to keep using Moodle. We're going to make sure that if we use Edgenuity, that we don't just lay waste to it and just say, okay, it's Edgenuity, here's your package and go. What we are doing is taking that framework of online curriculum, and our teachers are looking at it to say, does it provide what we would call the Northwest Way? Does it have all of the enhancements that we believe in? And if there's an industry credential that's sought in that classroom, does it reinforce that? And so our teachers are going through and looking at those things. Our coordinators, as you know, have been looking at curriculum. You've been working all summer. You've been busy. And so that's
how do we do TV from home?
How do you do this? And so that's really been the focus for us, is to take the Edgenuity course as a framework so that we didn't have to start from scratch on an online platform. It'll allow us to keep everything in one place. It'll be much easier for our students. Not all of our courses are offered in Edgenuity. They only have some CTE courses. It's very limited, but we do have some that will be offered there. Our entry-level courses, a lot of them will be Edgenuity, and it's going to allow for even more flexibility in an asynchronous environment.
It's great that we're doing as much as we possibly can to try to help continue to educate our students with the circumstances that we've got going on.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about one thing that Northwest ISD has always done a great job at is helping our kids become ready for their careers.
Yes.
When they leave here, employers will say, boy, they really know what they're doing right out of high school, and then they go into their further education. So certifications is one way we help give our kids a competitive advantage. Are those still going to be able to be offered, in this remote environment that we're in?
Absolutely. So, if we look at our career tree model that we use in the district, we talk about academics, experiences, professional skills, and passion. And within all of those, that we know those experiences allow us to have credentials, and those professional skills allow us to have credentials. And so that's part of building our students. Whether you are remote or face-to-face, we're going to find a way to build those opportunities. And so we have been working all summer. Our Microsoft program is very strong. We have a lot of students who test in that. We tested over 100 students this summer. They got their certifications. We did that in a remote setting and tested a lot of different things, but we've been working with the technology department to actually build a system, and it's called Azure Labs. It's very technical, but it allows us to be able to facilitate things through their Chromebook. We've bought additional curriculum that allows for the Chromebook to help with the training and the pieces to get a student ready. So each one of our programs has sought alternate solutions for a student who might be in a remote setting. And those are also things that we're going to enhance the face-to-face learning with as well.
Right.
So every student will have that. Some of our certifications will require a student to come up to the campus. It might be in the spring, after hours on a Saturday. It might be in the evenings.
Coming in the middle of the school day. Okay.
No, so we want to,
exactly.
A lot of other issues from a safety standpoint. And so we want to make sure that we can facilitate and keep the social distancing in our labs and things like that, but still certify. So each student will have kind of an individual certification plan. We're going to work with them on, hey, if you're in, say for instance, floral design, here's your pathway. Here's when we expect to actually test you in floral design.
Got it. Most of our teachers have been off over the summer. I think today is their first official day back is today. But we know a lot of them have been working a lot preparing for what's about to come. So address the teachers. What would you like to say to the teachers or talk about that a little bit?
So our teachers do an amazing job in our classrooms. I'm constantly in awe of the work that we do to bring industry to life in the classroom, because we know that our work is to build a work-ready community. We want our students to go get a technical 2-year military or 4-year option, and our teachers facilitate that. And so they're going to be working back and forth between two different systems. Our role and our goal in the department is to provide as much support for the teacher and the campus to be able to do that. And so We're looking at lots of different alternatives in additional curriculum, in additional technical solutions, planning times, however, whatever we can do to make the life a little bit more manageable, because they're still managing their own lives.
Right.
And now taking on this whole new reality. And so how do we balance that? And how do we make sure that we're maintaining the opportunities for our teachers and really stepping in? And, as you know, as a coordinator, it's important for each one of you to have that connectivity and to be well checking all of our teachers and see where we're at, after 9 weeks.
It's a fun challenge for teachers.
Absolutely.
It's exciting, though.
And I tell people all the time, we've always wanted to redesign things, and we love to try new things and challenges. This is just a whole new level of challenge that we're at.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that we're going to come out on the other side more efficient in a lot of other ways.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about senior release. So that's been an option for our students for a few years in the district now. But I understand project-based learning is going to be something that will help some of these students be prepared for the future. So what's up with project-based learning?
So we started talking about this prior to COVID, just that we wanted to make sure that we fulfilled our promise. We have a profile of a graduate. We say that you'll be ready for the global workforce. We say that when we give you that diploma, that our promise has been met and that you are ready for your next steps. And yet, anecdotally, we hear back from parents and from students who say, you didn't tell me about this, or I never learned how to fill out this kind of application, or I'm struggling with all of these acronyms like FAFSA, TSI, SAT, ACT, and the list goes on and on of the acronyms that are thrown at a student, and what are their next steps. And so we said, how can we better serve? And we have a senior release program, still believe in the senior release program and allowing our students, if they have the first period, 7th or 8th, if they've qualified through a set of standards that they have to do, that they would still get their senior release period, but we've now assigned them a mentor. And that mentor is going to walk them through some benchmarks. Hey, here are all your scores. Here's what you know. Have you had your TSI test? Well, if you're going to go to a state school in Texas, you need to have your TSI completed and passed so that you're not in remediation courses. So we just need to make sure that that is a checkbox and a checkpoint. Our students missed out. If they were in 11th grade last year, they missed out on their spring admissions for SATs. So that spring administration of that, it caused us to not have as many students having their SAT scores. I believe like only 1/10 of our students that are seniors have an SAT score right now, or it's been reported so far, because they missed out on the opportunity. And we haven't tested all summer because of College Board. Still waiting. We are doing a senior makeup day, October 14th. We're still doing the August and September administrations if College Board allows us to do that. But on October 14th, we actually have a full day planned for our seniors and our current juniors. They're going to have opportunities for SAT, TSI, ASVAB. We want to make sure that if they've missed any of those opportunities, either seniors, current seniors, or this year's juniors, we're going to do that on October 14th. And we're very excited about that because we want to make sure that nobody's stressing or having anxiety about not having those scores. And the colleges have waived a lot of things, but they haven't waived everything. And if you're not in a certain percentage, it could hurt you in certain places. And people are worried about this. And colleges have a new norm, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so now they're having to navigate it. And we just want to make sure that we do not leave any senior behind. So we've put together a course. We're also going to be teaching some life lessons. Like, if I'm on scholarship, how do I build a budget? Or I'm in my 2nd year of college, how do I do a lease agreement? How do I sew on a button?
So these we're talking about these skills that I know when my middle daughter went off, she said, you guys didn't really prepare me. You didn't teach me how to do this, 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 and this. And I thought, yeah, we kind of missed the boat on that. But to be able to do this project-based research and then be able to basically almost have it, and if you haven't seen the form, it's great, almost like a checklist of all of these things. And when we look at that, you're like, what a way to prepare our kids to go out into the world.
Without a doubt.
Opportunity.
Without a doubt. That was our whole concept. How do we make sure that we fulfilled our promise? And by just releasing students, we don't. by sitting down and having that one-on-one conversation and having a mentor, somebody to walk you through that, I think is really important. So our teachers are being assigned to students and even connecting them with some business and industry partnerships and just more opportunities to do better. And we've got some books that we've bought each one of the students, and we're going to really spend some time giving them as many options as they want in this class, although it's on their time when they want it. And so it's an exciting change. And we're really happy that whether we're in remote or face-to-face, we're fulfilling our promise. We are going to make sure that every one of our students are ready for any choice that they make, whether it's a technical, 2-year, military, or 4-year option. If you're going right to work, whatever it may be, we want to make sure that we fulfilled our promise, which is to make sure that our kids are ready.
That's great. And I know both students and parents appreciate that. So, well, thank you so much for coming in and talking about college and career readiness, all these wonderful things that we're doing for kids. As we prepare to go into remote learning, we're going to have a great school year this year. I know teachers are excited. It's going to be new, but we're excited to get back in the room with our students, or whether that room be virtually or whether that room be face-to-face, 6 feet apart. So thanks so much for joining us today. Thanks, Ms. Braswell, for coming in and talking to us. Doing great things here in Northwest ISD for all of your students. So if you have any questions, please let us know, and have a wonderful day.